Welcome to this special Conversations in the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. It's my pleasure to be joined today by two members of our new national champion women's squash team, Jana Safy and Maddie Hylland. Congratulations to both of you. A huge accomplishment for your team, finishing the undefeated season. It's been a couple days now. Just share your reaction, feelings. Like, has it started to sink in? Has it started to wear off? What's going through your heads?
I think for me, like, it sunk in, like, it didn't sink in right away when we were there, and then, like, after a few hours it started to sink in. It was a lot of fun, and then we came back for classes the next day, and then boom, we were there. Like, that's straight down to earth.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely has not sunk in for me yet, because like Maddie said, we came back, hit the ground running. We have to leave again, so maybe, hopefully over spring break we can just sit down and chill and be like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool accomplishment.
And there will be a lot of celebrations on campus for the team over the course of the spring, and so it's not something that just happened a while ago. It'll continue to be celebrated. But let's go back to Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia. The teams, got through the quarterfinals and the semifinals pretty smoothly, as expected. And then no matter what, a championship match is going to be a little bit of a fight. And so just talk about your individual emotions as you're going through the day, playing your matches, building up to obviously Noron in the clinching match against Princeton.
Yeah, no, for me, I was, I woke up and I was already like, okay, I feel sick. I don't know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, go through this day without, like, throwing up, but that's just how I am, and that was my, my feeling last year, too, and that match went pretty well, so I was like, okay, if it's the same feeling I have now, maybe it's going to be okay. So I was going through and I was like calling my parents because they were the only ones that didn't watch the men play, and I couldn't watch them either because that just made me way more nervous. And so I was calling them, trying to have my mom like calm me down, and then as I was walking to the courts, that's when I started to like get into the moment and get into my match. And that was kind of when I just like I started like not talking to anyone on the team almost. Yeah, and then like for my match, after the first ball was hit, that's when I just lost all the nerves, and I was just like, okay, this is gonna be fine. This is good. Just gotta keep it going now. Yeah.
I was just trying to stay in like the same routine that we had the last like 2 days, because I was like, okay, like if this worked the last 2 days, it has to work today. But obviously the men were playing before, and I can't help but watch. So Jana and I went and watched a little bit, and they had a really good start. And then we went back to the hotel, and I was like, okay, like they're doing well. And then we were like in the lobby with the Princeton men cheering on our team, like on 3 laptops, and everyone like screaming in the lobby. And then when we found out they lost, that was obviously heartbreaking, but it was almost like, okay, like now we have to win for both teams. Because we really, really wanted that. Like, it would have been just so special. So yeah, like on our walk there, everyone like had music on, and like just make sure to like talk to the men before and like kind of console them, but they were also like really supportive and excited for us. And then just going in, I was playing really well like the whole weekend, and I was just like kind of had that momentum, so that was really nice to have, and kind of just hit the ground running.
We could say this for sure now. This team was on a mission after losing in the national championship match last year, 5-4, and it just felt like everything this year, even though students were talking about it outside the team, Coach Bartlett wasn't talking about it outside the team. This was a group that was supremely focused on not only getting back to the national championship, but winning it. And like, at what point over the weekend did you start really crystallizing that vision? Like, we're going to do this. And was there a point before that final ball was struck on Sunday where you said, like, we've got this, and you had just such confidence in each other?
So I think like for me at least, after Cara won her match, that's when I just like, okay, we won. Like, we hadn't even like hit the last ball, and I was just like, okay, that's it. They'd have no chance of like taking us. But then also like before the weekend, we had also decided as a team that this was a business trip. Like, we were going there on a this is our job. This is basically, we were not going to like joke around, like do other things. This was just about like squash and winning the championship. So that was, I think that was a very important mindset to have. I think that's why we were so focused on the final.
Yeah, I think the business trip mentality really like set in from the very beginning, which was very, very helpful. But on Sunday specifically, I knew we got it in the bag when Cara was playing on the other court and like Lulu was on the. It was Cara, Lulu, and I playing at the same time,
Yep.
and like all three of us were one love down. But I just knew like when between first and second game when I went in, I can hear Cara score and I can see Lulu score and like I can hear like Maddie screaming at Cara score. So and I just hear like I can hear and see everyone's scores like getting better, and I knew like even coach was telling me after that Sarah E, our assistant coach, when I was one love down and like coach went to her and was like, hey, what's happening? So I was like, we got this. And I just knew it's gonna happen today. So that was really good.
Yeah, I think I was just watching Cara's match. I was like totally focused on that, and I had the alums both like on my sides, and they were like, okay, Lulu, like they were like keeping me like the scores up with me so that I knew the score from like the other courts as well. And they were like, okay, Lulu, 1 up down, Lulu, 1 up, Lulu, 2-1 up, and I was like, okay, we got this. This is good. And then like Jana, 2 love. And I was like, okay, no, that's fine then. And then I was just like watching Cara and like focused on that. And then when she won, that was just like, okay, now it's like the gap is way too big for like anything else to happen.
So when you go to nationals, you have professional refs at the matches, and so
Yeah.
you're not scorekeeping, and you're not having to maybe distract yourself by being a scorekeeper or a referee during a match. Did that help or hurt your group?
Both.
Yeah, it's kind of nice not having to ref, obviously. Like that's a very big relief.
Yeah.
Also like being refed by other teams or reffing your own teammates, like trying to not be biased in any way, that's so hard and it's like almost impossible, especially in like this big of a championship. But then again, there are refs that might seem like they are biased against us, so like that might hurt us regardless. So, but I think for us during this, like during the final, we had like told the team that okay, we are not going to care about any bad decisions from the ref. It's going to go both ways. If the ref gives you a bad decision, forget it. Like put it behind you and then continue to play. And like seeing everyone doing that, that was insane. That was amazing. It's never happened before, I think, with our team, because we like it's very frustrating obviously when the ref is giving you bad decisions. But we've also had times with our like we had a mental coach that kind of helped us through that, and he the most important thing we talked about with him was when the ref was giving us like bad decisions. So we prepared for that like several weeks in advance, that the refs was going to give us bad decisions, but it's just forgetting about it. That's the most important. So I think like preparing for that was very, very important for the team, especially for the final.
Yeah, I'm just like a big believer in what goes around comes around, and like the ref is reffing for both of us, and if they make a bad call for you, it will also be bad for them at some point, but also like what you do on the courts helps them make the bad decision or not. So I think mostly with our team, because we were so very focused on just doing our job and what we're supposed to, like honestly there weren't that many bad decisions, because like they didn't really get the chance to ask for anything, because everyone executed like so well, which is something that's super rare.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so grateful for, because that just adds like a whole other mountain of like tension and stress that we definitely did not need.
Yeah, it was very interesting watching the Princeton girls as well, because they had like when they got the bad decisions like for them, I could just see that they reacted the way that we were like not going to react. They reacted with like frustration. They lost focus and everything, and it was such a difference in like in the players, like especially with the girl on Laurent's court, the girl on Hannah's court. She got so frustrated every single time, and obviously that's a part of like having nerves as well. But yeah, it was very cool to see that the girls were just like very, very calm, and like regardless of any decision, they were just okay.
So 4th national title in the program's history. So my last question is this. Everyone on the team comes from a country other than the U.S. where team college national championships are not as big a deal as they are in the States. So how do each of you describe this to people back home when you say, yeah, Trinity won the national championship and this is a really big deal, and they kind of look at you sideways. So how do you describe it to them to help them understand what a significant accomplishment this is?
Have you tried yet?
I mean, I haven't really tried, just because I feel like everyone on our team is the best at their country.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us are used to winning all the time, and I think that's also what really like crushed us last year, is that like it's kind of normal a little bit, but like trying to explaining it to people who aren't involved in CSA is like really hard. But I would just say like it's so different because squash is an individual sport, but you just come here and you're forced to be like in this team basically, and then you spent like 6 months preparing for this one tournament together, and all the other teams do the same. And now, especially like recently, all the other colleges have been getting more international players, so there's like a lot more competition. So it is a big deal because it's not just you. Like usually you'd lose and then you're out and then okay, the day's over. But no, like you can lose and keep going, and you still like. I genuinely like I think about that a lot now. That like I've never like yes, I want my friends to win, but I never felt so intensely for them. Like I remember watching the boys, like I wanted them to win so bad. Watching like Cara, I literally shed a few tears when she won, because like this is like for all of us, not just me or Maddie or whatever. So I think it's just a lot more emotional than regular like tournaments.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because one of the assistant coaches I talked to, one of my friends, and he was telling him, why are people crying? Like, what is the big deal? And then he like tried to explain, like, this is a very big deal. This is like one of the biggest tournaments like in the US for squash. Like, you have no idea how much this means, and you have no idea how big it is for a lot of the players in the college squash. They go pro, so this is like kind of like playing with each other, seeing where they are in the pro circuit as well. You see like a lot of the ones that graduated last year are like top 20, like some of them even top 50, and some of the girls on Princeton, Harvard, they're already in the top 50s. So a lot of them are already playing professional squash. So it is still a big deal that this is like, they're still playing kind of almost like a mini world championship against each other, almost. But I've also tried to explain the big deal about this like to my friends and family in like Norway as well. And it's just, I think I have one coach that kind of understands how big of a deal this is. And it was kind of funny, he was like texting me throughout the tournament, like, you're doing so great, like, just wait. And after he was putting it out on Facebook and everywhere, how big it is, and like trying to understand. So like I didn't have to really explain it to anyone because he was already there. He was on top of it. He was like, this is the biggest thing. This is historical. Like we've never had one from our country do this. This is like the biggest deal ever. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and just watch everyone else do that for me. So yeah, that was a good thing.
I think what's also really different is that it means so much to so many people, not just like the players obviously and the coaches, but also like all our alums who have fought for this but like didn't get to do it. They all came, and then they also felt like they won because like we said earlier, it's a team. And like usually you win for you and your coaching staff, but that's it, but not for like 50, 60 people who are all like generally so invested. So I think that also makes it really special.
The most amazing thing was when we were taking the photos. Like obviously Princeton took the photos first, and the announcer said, okay, all the parents can come in, like take the photos, like now the professional photographer is done. They went out, it was our turn, we took the professional photos. He announced all the parents can come in, and all the team was like, oh, we don't have parents, like you can just forget about it. Like we started to stand up, and all the alums like watching us came in like, no, we're here, like we got you guys. And it was the feeling of like, okay, we have a big family, like we are a big family, we won as a family. And that was like one of the best moments, I think.
Well, congratulations to both you and your team. What better way to celebrate than this weekend you're going to go play another tournament in Philadelphia at the individual national championships, and then a well-earned break, although, Maddie, you're going to go home and play in your own national championship. So enjoy squash the rest of the spring as well. Congratulations to both of you. That'll do it for this special Conversations in the Coop. For more news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com and follow us on social at Bantam Sports. Until next time.